Correct.
The word of the day is agenda. Happy Thursday and welcome to Pero Comma Podcast with Colette and myself, Liz. And today we're going to be going over some of the books that we have found on the banned books list. That some of them we understand, some of them we don't. We're just going to talk about it. Let us know what you guys think. Colette, what is your first book that completely was like, wait, why is that on there?
Oh, I have notes. Let me turn my page.
Oh, you're so prepared. I love you.
So, The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Very popular book. I own it. Have I read it? No. But I do own the movie. I watched it. I felt like that was a fantastic story that needed to be told from the perspective of a young Black teenager. And then, if you watched the movie, I felt like it told the story of how it's full circle, how sometimes we, Black people, may antagonize the situation more. And then, because we have our prejudice against the cops, or the cops have a prejudice against us, I don't care what nobody say, they have their prejudice against us. It's just an ongoing cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never a let's sit down and talk about it. It's I hate you, you hate me, and that's that. So I feel like, to me, the way the movie was depicted, I felt like it was a very good conversation to have, especially with your kids, with other people that
Yes.
may not be in that situation. I personally never grew up in the hood, so I couldn't tell you. But I'm going to be honest, I've always had a distrust for the police. That's just, I don't know if it's just ingrained in us, but that is something that we had. So I just felt like that was, I feel like a lot of times people don't understand because you refuse to understand someone else's perspective. You don't have to grow from somewhere or come from somewhere in order to understand someone's thought process. You may not even agree with it, but you need to learn to understand it so that you can know how to navigate. So that's
Definitely.
just me.
Yeah.
What about you?
I want to read the book. I don't own it, but I have
Yeah.
watched the movie. And I agree with what you said. And the way the movie was made
Mm-hmm.
was great.
Yeah.
Was great. I don't think that this is a book that should be on the ban list.
Yeah.
I mean, we're saying this now. Once we read it, we might read something in there that's like, oh, maybe not elementary. But from what
Right.
I saw in the movie, I think it's something that should be read in schools.
Yeah. By the way,
Certain
we jumped
age.
ahead, you guys. We kind of jumped ahead. So, Liz, do you want to give them the definition of why a book is
Oh,
banned?
uno momento, por favor.
Absolutely.
So, a banned book list is a searchable index of books that have been restricted or banned from school libraries and classrooms in the United States. Per ALA.org, 47% of the targeted books are lived experiences of LGBTQIA and BIPOC stories.
Yeah. Which is, we'll get it. Also, I do want to give a definition of PEN America, which is another index you can search for banned books within the US. PEN America defines a school book ban as any action taken against the book based on its content as a result of a parent or community challenges, administrative decisions, or in response to a direct or threatened action by lawmakers or other governmental officials that leads to a previously accessible book being either completely removed from availability to students or whose access to a book is restricted or diminished. Um, we'll have it linked below for ALA.org and also for PEN America. But they have, again, those list of books, and it's like, some of them it's like, why? Like, Liz, what's a book that you saw on the list that you were like, for what reason?
The Giver. The
I haven't
Giver.
read it. I watched the movie, but I haven't read it.
I've read it and I've watched the movie. Now, if you let me put my conspiracy theory hat on, I can tell you that I think it's just they don't want like it's an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you haven't read the book, they basically live in this community. They think it's the only community, and everything is taken care of for you. Everything from what you wear, who you marry, what job you take, what you do, your baby. Like, you do not give birth to your own baby. They give you a baby. Everything's in black and white. You obviously, we know where this is going. And then there's one of the jobs every year, an age group is given their jobs. And this year, this one boy gets the job of the giver. And it's I don't even remember, because it was a few years ago that I read it. I don't remember if that's the exact name, but basically the giver holds all of the knowledge of the world, all the history, everything. But they live away from everybody else, and they're not allowed to share any of that, nothing. They're the only ones. So this boy gets this job, and his dad is a nursery worker, and he's the one that takes care of the baby. Well, one of the babies that he's taking care of is not up with the other babies, so they bring him home. While the baby's at home, the kid gets attached. Anyways, he goes to the giver, and he starts downloading all the information, and he starts seeing stuff. And he's like, well, wait. And he starts asking questions. And he is not okay with just letting it be. And so eventually, he learns all of that stuff, and he's like, this is fucked. Like, we should not be living like this, type of thing. So if what some people say is true, and there's a control thing going on in the world or whatever, this would fall under that. And I could see why certain agencies wouldn't want it to be read by children. But in my opinion, I think it's something that should be read by. I think it should be I think it should be mandatory to read the giver.
Yeah, because even we were talking about it. I think it was, what book was it that's on there that I was like, that was mandatory reading in high school. And Frank.
Kill a Mockingbird.
Anne Frank.
Oh.
Kill a Mockingbird. For me, it was Anne Frank. That was mandatory reading.
Me too.
And I think for you, and I'm sitting here like, what do you mean?
Anne
So
Frank?
why would you traumatize us and not traumatize everybody else? I'm just playing. But I'm just saying, Anne Frank, though, like, you don't want them to learn about what happened in the Holocaust?
And it's weird to me because I know the Jewish community is usually pretty open about those stories and all of that stuff. So I want to know who doesn't want to know about Anne Frank? Who?
Right.
Please let us know. Explain it to us. Maybe we're not seeing a side of the coin.
And then some of them we can understand. Like, for instance, all SJM books are banned. I'm gonna be honest with you. I know Akatar series, Crescent City series, Throne of Glass.
No.
Throne of Glass too.
Well,
they're marketed towards young adult, but the content, I don't know if I would want my child to read it and I wasn't aware.
No, I agree. Like some of the books, The Handmaid's Tale. The Handmaid's Tale. Jesus, Liz. I can see why they wouldn't want that in schools. But I do think maybe high school.
They're trying to do it now. I digress.
Huh? That what?
I said because they're trying to do it now. But I digress.
Exactly. But you're just tapping into my little conspiracies. So you see why they would want it banned, right?
Yeah. For those that don't know, if you happen to watch the series on Hulu, The Handmaid's Tale follows how the government, there was a coup of the government from the Sons of Jacob, I think is what the little,
I think you're right,
was called. They take over the government. They stop women from working. They pull all their money. Like, women were going to go buy lunch and dinner and stuff one day, and they couldn't use their card. Their cards were declining.
Cannot even read. Remember, she gets her finger cut off for reading.
Yeah. And they figure out, they go home, they send people home, they tell them, I'm so sorry, I have to send you home. They go home, they come to realize women cannot work anymore because they said women are becoming too frivolous. They have now taken too much autonomy over themselves. They don't want to have children. They want to focus on their careers. There's a decline in births, which, if we're being honest, that's kind of what's happening now. Not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what's happening now. And then they essentially are putting these men in leadership positions to control the Gilead is the name of the new country, because the once they took over the government, half of the country is still the United States, but it's like Chicago westward, and I think their new headquarters or the new capital is like LA. And Gilead is trying to coerce women into having children. So these men are married. The women that they're married to may not be having, aren't having children, and they want to sit here and say it's the women's fault when we know it's the men. But I digress.
Infertility goes both ways.
Nah, it's the men. But literally, it was the men in the book. It was the men that were infertile, not the women.
No, but also in this era, in this book,
yeah,
everybody who's not influential is broken down into job classes. So
correct.
There's the handmaids. They're the ones that go into the individual houses and are there they do a whole ritual. It's weird. It's just weird. They do a whole ritual to make a baby.
Correct.
To make a baby, and then they have. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's supposed to be once a month when they're fertile, when you are ovulating, because that's when you're most fertile. Obviously, the men don't adhere to that. They are held against their will, so we know what you call that. The women, the wives, help the men. Yes, the women,
they're the ones
wives,
that hold them down. Then they have to have these babies, take care of the babies for the first year. No, they still take care of them. Yeah. And then they're like, okay, now we're going to place you with this family so you can have a baby for them. Then they have the maids, the cooks, the chefs, and everybody wears their own colors. It's just.
Yeah. And then they basically take the Bible and try to twist it into subservience.
Yeah, to make it fit their agenda.
Correct.
The word of the day is agenda.
Yeah. So I get it for The Handmaid's Tale, but at the same time I don't, because I feel like that's something you can actually talk about and discuss. That's a healthy discourse to have.
I do think high school. I don't think that an elementary kid needs to be reading it. My opinion. I know everybody. And again, I just want to state this. I think it's easy for people to rally to ban a book. It's easier for them to do that than it is for them to actually monitor and filter whatever their kids are reading, or, just be involved, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not
because I don't know. My mom used to take me to the library every Saturday. And I was supposed to sit in the kids section and I picked kids books. And I remember coming with books and she would be like, no, this is too old for you.
Yep.
And I had to put it back. So
yep.
I'm not saying that you're a bad parent. If you take it as a bad parent, if the shoe fits, but
not just that, your kid. You know your kid, where they're at, maturity-wise, and all of that. For instance, Alana, I could let Alana read certain things that it would be Zelda, and I'd be like, no, Zelda, you need to reel it back.
Yeah.
Back then, not now. They're grown now, but.
Yeah. And I totally get that, because I remember I was at work and somebody was like, yeah, my daughter wanted to read The Color Purple because the movie had just came out or whatever. And I was like, how old is your daughter? She was like 12. I was like, do not let that 12-year-old girl read The Color Purple. Have you read The Color Purple? Like, what are you saying? But the thing is, and I can fully support you allowing your child to read and saying, okay, read. That's totally fine. But you as a parent should be aware of the content in the book.
Yep.
So if you don't know what it is,
And
please find out information about it and monitor it.
and we
That's
live
your
in the day
responsibility.
we live in the day of information. There's no excuse. It's not like you have to drive to the library and read the book yourself. You can literally
Right.
go online, go on TikTok, go on Instagram, go on the wonderful
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, Facebook, whatever, and find out. You just need a few minutes of your time to see what the book is about, and then
Yeah.
you could let your kid know.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
whatever.
Totally. There are a few books on here that I actually own as well. Oh, you know what else is on the banned book list? Game of Thrones.
I mean,
I get it.
I haven't read it.
I get it. I get it. I've read it. I get it.
Let me see.
No.
What's one on here that I get? The Lovely Bones.
Yeah, that was hard for me.
Me too.
As an adult, I read that as an adult, and that was for me.
Yes, I was an adult as well, and then I watched the movie afterwards. And
Yeah.
Mr. Tucci, I just want you to know, if you ever watch this and come across this, I highly doubt it. But that movie, you are one of my favorite actors, sir. But that
Superb.
movie,
Yeah.
that movie, Mr.
Yeah.
Tucci, with
And
all due respect.
they really edited that movie because it was way more graphic in the book.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I think I might read it again.
Nah, that was a one and done for me. Would I recommend it? I would recommend it, but it's a lot. It's kind of like Hotel Rwanda. Yeah, it's kind of like Hotel Rwanda. I felt like that was a fantastic movie. You ain't gonna have me watch that again though. That's a lot. They also have Beloved and the Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. I read both of these books.
Do they belong on there?
I personally don't think they belong on there. Here's my thing with people: don't come for me, please. Black America, don't come for me. I am not a fan of Toni Morrison's writing. It does not gel with me. I understand the story. I understand the concept. I know where she's going. I get it. But to me, she writes in circles. I'm like, girl, get to the point. So I become frustrated. But then when you get to the point, it's like, oh, I understand. So those books to me, I feel like those are books that are deserving of healthy discourse. I feel like a lot of these books that are banned are due to homosexuality, not even homosexuality, sexuality and racial prejudices. And you're so uncomfortable with the conversation, you just choose to ban it and not talk about it. Because you sweep it under the rug doesn't make it go away. Have the conversation.
Yes, definitely. Now, when it comes to the books with sexual content, I think that's where parents really need to step it up, because you do. I honestly, it's just hard. I have kids, and I don't think there should be any books with any sexual content in elementary school.
I agree.
It really depends on the age and the type of content. And the type of content, because like you said, there's conversations that need to be had, and sometimes these books are the door to help you have those conversations and to explain it to the kids, like, hey, yeah, you know, that book was kind of sucky, like what happened in that book, but it's real life, and that's why we have to blah 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 blah, and that's why we should blah 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 blah, or we shouldn't blah 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 blah. Like, parents, step up, take it, you know. We can't just leave it.
I totally agree with that. And then we also have some books that were on the list that we have heard of and want to read. It's on our TBR. I own a few of them, to be honest with you. Everybody know I got a pile of books that need to be read. Don't come for me. Y'all know this. But apparently I own a few of them that are on this list. So for me, for one, Monday's Not Coming. I own that. The 1619
Why do you own it?
Monday's Not Coming. Monday's Not Coming. I had heard that it was a really good book.
Oh
You
no,
know what?
wasn't it a book club book?
Monday's Not Coming? No,
Wasn't it a book
1619
book you were
Project.
gonna read?
1619 Project was.
Okay, never mind then. Continue.
Yeah.
Disregard what I said.
So Monday's Not Coming. I had got that off of Book Talk. Actually, you already know how I feel about Book Talk recommendations. They always steer me wrong. But the way the girl described it, I said, "Ooh, I want to read it." Come to find out, this is about Black girls being trafficked, which is why I haven't read it yet, because I don't feel like I'm in the emotional capacity to read this book at this moment. But she kind of sold it to me like it was a mystery, and it sounded good because I'm not like a mystery person. But I was like, "Ooh, that sounds good." No, no, no. If it's that heavy, I need you to tell me that.
So
I'm just saying.
passionate about that. No.
I am, because if it's that heavy, don't sell me a dream of this is no. This is some hard truths that's happening right now in the US. This is what's going on. She wrote about it. Let me know that. And I can see why this is on a banned book list. Monday's Not Coming. It's about trafficking young girls, specifically Black girls, and how they're missing, especially in the DC area. Apparently, there's a high human trafficking rate with Black girls in the DC area that no one is talking about, unless you're in like Black media outlets or Black news outlets, but it's not getting mainstream coverage like on CNN or ABC or anything like that. So, yeah. So that is one of the books I want to read. I also have the 1619 Project. That was a book club read that Liz tried to call me out on. I don't care, Liz.
No.
I started it.
We'll have the conversation off recording. I think there's enough.
Another one?
No, yes, we'll talk. You'll understand what I'm talking about later.
Oh.
If you know me.
Okay.
No, I'm joking.
And then The Hate You Give, like I own that. And there was another one that I wanted to read that I can't find right now. Oh, Ace of Spades. I think we recently did a mini haul, and Ace of Spades was one of the books that I got in my mini haul. Apparently, that's on the banned book list as well. So there you have it. What about you, Liz?
Okay, because I started this book and I have not finished it, so I own it and it's on my it's checked off on my TBR here. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue.
I own it.
No, I know. What in it? What in that book would you say? Oh, okay.
I don't know. Okay. Unless you don't want people to think they'll live forever. I don't know. It's fucking magical. I don't know. Harry Potter is on the list, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
No, there were some other ones on the list that I wrote. It's pretty wild, the books you find on there. There was a Judy Blume book on there.
Yeah. Aragon, The Never Ending Story, if y'all saw that as a kid. Aragon. I don't know.
Wait! Is that who it's based on?
The Never Ending Story. Yeah, Aragon.
I did not know that!
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm going to read them. Me and Zelda were just talking about that.
Strange the Dreamer is on this list. I have had this book for like over a year now. I've heard nothing but rave reviews. If you ask me what this book is about,
Taylor.
Yeah.
Daisy Jones and the Six, I think, right?
Is that her?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, she has pink hair. Oh, she did the Daughter of Smoke and Bone.
Okay. Yeah, she wrote Strange the Dreamer. I own it. A lot of people have raved about that book. I personally haven't heard anything untoward about it for it to be banned, so I don't know. I honestly couldn't give a valid reason or opinion as to why.
Yeah, those books are not on the banned books list, but I do recommend them if you're into, young adult fantasy. Really good. Just saying. Just trying to
And then what about
see.
you, Liz? What books are on there that you have read or on your TBR, I should say?
Okay, let me go back to my list. So on my TBR, I have, and you have it too, American Gods. I heard it's
Yes.
really good.
And for those who
Um,
may not want to read it, they do have a series on Stars. It was canceled, but it's on Stars. It was had like all the Emmys. Apparently, people loved it.
really.
But it's about consumerism in America. Just saying. You want to ban people reading
Um,
about consumerism?
I put 1984 on my TBR because of you, and it's on Audible Plus. So,
Reinhard
um,
51 is a great book too.
I have the book because I had to buy
Mm-hmm.
it for Alana for school. She had to read it at school, in high school.
I didn't read it in school. I read it on my own, but I thought it was a fantastic book.
Yeah, so she
I
bought
really
it,
enjoyed it.
and she didn't buy it. I either bought it for her or Lulu, one of the two. And so I have that. I do want to read that. I have The Hate You Give because I haven't read it.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord of the Rings series. I only read half, maybe not even half of the first book. It's a lot, but it was good. I just never went back to it. Life.
I know y'all love it. I don't want the fandom to come for me, but I can't. The only thing I like about that book is Smeagol. But continue.
I'm sorry. All I heard is wah 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 wah. Don't worry, fandom, I got you. Yeah. And they have It Ends With Us on there.
By Colleen Hoover.
Yes, I can understand that being banned in like, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't say high school though. Like the message that I got that book was a very good book. I mean, message. I mean,
So
it has heart, like you
there
said,
is
it has,
salt.
huh?
I hear there is a salt in the book. Is it graphic or is it just mentioned?
A grape?
Yeah.
No, it happens. Is that what it is? I don't
No,
remember
that's
the
what I'm saying.
scene.
Is it graphic? Like you actually are reading it on page, or is it like mentioned and they're just
No,
like
you're reading
flashback?
it off. So yeah, okay, I can see it. I can see it. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. Because they banned Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan, which I've been recommended to you since I read it. And personally, I don't. Now, if you want to ban a Kennedy Ryan book, you need to be long shot. Because I told Liz about that bullshit.
You had to throw that in there before I let go. The one that I told you to read about.
But Before I Let Go, I felt like, well, I guess I can see why they would ban it, but
You know
I
what?
think
At
they
the
were
end of the
banning it
day,
because. Go ahead.
I see it like this: the school, the school system's in a hard place. You know, without the
Yeah.
parents backing on some of these books,
Yeah.
and I think maybe if some people read the books, they might realize that maybe like The Giver should not be banned. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's such it's
I think
yeah.
reading takes you into two different mental places for you to explore that you may have not been. You can travel to, for instance, like I tell you to read the Ray Leaf books. To me, those are urban contemporary books. These are people that are from the hood, but it's not set in the hood, if you understand what I'm saying. So I feel like learning about their life experiences and why they make the decisions they make teaches you about other people and why they make those decisions. And I feel like when you're just stuck in your little bubble of not knowing, everyone isn't raised the same. You can't sit here and preach to everyone to be an individual, but then tell them to conform. It's either or. Which one do you want?
Yep. This and I agree with you wholeheartedly because I think those are the things that trigger compassion and empathy and
Mm-hmm.
sympathy, which I do think is what we're lacking in humanity in general, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I agree with you.
Totally. So we'll have everything linked below, you guys, so you can check it out. See if there are any books that you might have read that you want to read. It'll be two lists from ALA.org and also from Pen America. I do want to just give a little short reminder that Pen America, their list that they have was from June 1st of 2022. I'm sorry, July 1st of 2022 to June of 2023. So those were the books that were in that list. They revise it every year. They add to, take away from. So I would just recommend going through the listing and see. I printed out a whole sheet so I can actually go through because the way my eyesight set up, I couldn't read that online. But yeah, we would highly recommend looking at those books, seeing if you want to read anything out of there. We'll also have our books listed below of what we plan to read, what's on our TBR, the books that we have read. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for watching, liking, sharing, subscribing. We hope we provided you with some information that'll
Let us
help
know
you.
what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. And as
Or
always, you guys, yeah.
Sorry.
And if you can contribute to any of the books that we might have mentioned that we weren't able to read and you may know about, you can let us know whether or not you agree and it should be on the banned book list. Why not? Just let us know. But again, you guys, we'll see y'all next week. We love you. Bye.